It was January 1959, a time when the Soviet Union was still shrouded in secrecy, and the Ural Mountains stood as an unforgiving wilderness of ice, wind, and silence. In that frozen expanse, 10 young adventurers, students and graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute, prepared to take on a challenging winter expedition. For many of them, it was their third hike of the season. To outsiders, it might have seemed like just another weekend trek, but for these men, it was part of a larger plan. They wanted to climb Otorten, a mountain that loomed over the horizon like a silent giant. Their route would take them through dense forests, across frozen rivers, and finally to the base of the mountain, where they would begin their ascent. The entire journey was fraught with peril. Temperatures could plummet to unimaginable lows, avalanches were common, and rescue was hours away. Their leader was Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, experienced in survival, confident in his team's abilities, and determined to push their limits. He was respected by his peers, a trait that shone through in the pages of the diary he kept throughout the ordeal. For them, this was more than just a hike. It was a test of skill, endurance, and unity. And each member of the group played a vital role. Zina Kolmogorova, the only woman on the trip, was a skilled skier and a source of strength for the team. Her friends affectionately nicknamed her the Bear. Then there was Rustim Sloboda, a stern and reliable man, whose experience in the mountains was invaluable. Ludmila Dubinina, too, was a seasoned hiker, her adventurous spirit leading her to the remote corners of the Ural wilderness. Nikolai Thibault was the joker of the group, always ready with a joke or a song to lift their spirits. And Yuri Doroshenko, well, he was the artist, capturing the essence of their journey through sketches and paintings. As the trek began, the mood was light. Their diaries and photographs captured laughter, inside jokes, and playful moments in the snow. They sang songs, posed for pictures, and even poked fun at themselves for carrying so much gear. Each entry hinted at excitement for what lay ahead. There was a shared understanding among them, a silent pact to conquer the elements, to test their mettle against the unforgiving terrain. They moved through the wilderness with purpose, their footsteps crunching on the frozen ground, their breath forming white clouds in the frigid air. The challenges were many, but their camaraderie was stronger. They helped each other over fallen logs, shared stories around their campfire, and slept in the comforting embrace of their tent, tucked away from the biting wind. Every evening, they recorded their experiences in their journals, each page becoming a testament to their bravery, their humor, and their unbreakable bond. But somewhere along the way, things began to change. One member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill and had to turn back early. He bid farewell to his companions, promising to meet them back at the train station in a few days. Little did he know that this would be their last meeting, a split-second decision that saved his life. The remaining 9 pressed on, venturing deeper into the heart of the Ural Mountains, and as they journeyed, a shadow seemed to fall over their expedition. Their once buoyant spirits were dampened, their laughter replaced by a somber silence. What exactly happened during those fateful days remains a mystery, a void in their collective story that has only deepened the enigma surrounding their fate. On February 1st, they reached the slopes of Kalatsiakal, a name that, in the local Mansi language, means Mountain of the Dead. Here, the landscape grew harsher, the trees sparser, and the wind more relentless. Harsh winds whipped across the ridge, and temperatures plummeted well below freezing. The hikers huddled together for warmth, their steps now slower, their movements more deliberate in the face of the mountain's raw power. They made camp that night in an area known as Vitsai, a sheltered spot near the forest. There, they pitched their tent, cutting into the snow to create a flat space. This decision would later puzzle investigators. Why not camp in the forest below, where trees could offer shelter from the wind? Was it a practical choice based on terrain or a fatal error in judgment? The answer lies buried somewhere beneath the frozen earth of Dyatlov Pass. After setting up camp, the hikers spent their time skiing and exploring the area. Some relaxed by the tent, while others ventured further into the wilderness, their voices echoing in the vast emptiness. But as darkness fell, they retreated to the safety of their tent, seeking refuge from the biting cold. Inside the tent, they shared stories, ate their meager rations, and tried to sleep, if not for the piercing wind that howled outside like a hungry wolf, desperate to break in. The temperature dropped, the snow piled higher, and the silence of the mountains pressed in on all sides. We will never know what happened in the hours that followed, but what we do know is that something went terribly wrong. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, search parties were sent out. The initial investigation revealed nothing out of the ordinary. The tent was found in a secluded area, far from the usual hiking trails, and upon closer inspection, it was discovered that the tent had been slashed open from the inside. This detail alone pointed to a sudden, frantic exit. Why would someone cut open their tent from the inside? The answer seemed to lie somewhere in the heart of the frozen wilderness. Days turned into weeks as rescuers scoured the mountains, battling blizzards and sub-zero temperatures. They searched for any sign of the missing hikers, hoping against hope to find them alive. But with each passing day, their chances of survival dwindled. Finally, on February, after almost a week of searching, rescuers spotted the tent. It was half buried in snow, and eerily, it had been slashed open from the inside. The hikers' boots, jackets, and supplies were still there, untouched. Whatever drove them out had been sudden, urgent, and terrifying. The rest of the group was found scattered around the area. 5 of them were lying in a clearing between a forest and the tent. All 5 had died from hypothermia, but what caused their deaths was a mystery in itself. Their clothes were torn, and 2 of them had no headgear. How could they have succumbed to hypothermia when their coats and boots were intact? And why had they stripped off their clothing? The answers seemed elusive, hidden beneath the thick layer of snow. Then, a few days later, when the spring thaw came, searchers found the remaining 4, and their condition was far stranger. 1 had a fractured skull. 2 others had severe chest injuries, the kind usually seen in high-impact car accidents. 1 was missing her tongue. And yet, there were no external wounds. No cuts, no bruises. To explain the trauma, as news of the tragedy spread, theories began to swirl. Some believed it was an avalanche, forcing the hikers to flee in panic. Others suspected military involvement, secret weapon tests, or a cover-up of some sort. There were even whispers of extraterrestrial encounters, fueled by strange glowing lights, reported in the sky that night by witnesses miles away. In reality, the truth was far more mundane. The Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers perished due to a compelling natural force, likely an avalanche. Yet this explanation raised more questions than it answered. Why would an avalanche strip them of their clothing? Why would it cause such severe internal injuries without leaving a mark on the outside? And why had some of them fled while others stayed put? Even the official narrative left more to be desired. The notion of a single, compelling natural force failed to account for the scattered nature of their deaths, the distance between their tents, and the lack of physical evidence at the scene. What we do know is that something happened in that snow-covered wilderness, something so sudden, so terrifying, that it drove 9 experienced hikers to flee into the night, straight into the jaws of a brutal Siberian winter. And on that mountain, known as the Mountain of the Dead, the wind still howls over their final campsite, carrying with it a mystery that refuses to be buried. The Dyatlov Pass incident continues to captivate and confuse people today. Despite numerous investigations and theories, the truth behind what transpired in those desolate mountains remains elusive. The story of these young hikers serves as a chilling reminder of the unforgiving nature of the wilderness and the mysteries that sometimes defy explanation. As we reflect on their tragic tale, we are left to ponder the what-ifs and wonder about the unseen forces that can shape our destinies. What would you have done if you were in their shoes? What do you think happened to them on that fateful night? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more such thrilling stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep exploring.